I'm really tired, so bear with me on this video. If I seem slurry in any way, it's literally just pure exhaustion. I am running on empty. It's like fumes at this point. A video come up on my For You page, and it was someone's comment that triggered me, and it's triggered me all day, to be honest. I wasn't going to create a video on it. I was like, I can't be bothered. I've done enough video on so many things that I thought, can I even be asked at this point? Can I be bothered? I'm really happy that I have been really focusing on YouTube. So that's been good for me personally, the fact that my content's there. So if I decide to stop creating content on TikTok, I don't lose my content. That's a little side note, really. It's something I've been working on. So just to give some context there, if we just go put it on, so you can see there's my YouTube channel. It's not about the views at the moment. That will gain in time. It's like a steady progress. It's really about being consistent now. That's what's happening. So I've created separate. Again, bear with me. I can't even be asked. It's various topics for the channel, and it's got different things to correspond. So, like I said, someone's comment on someone else's video, it just triggered me a little bit because it just shows people's threat from others' intelligence. And like, if you're intelligent, you've had experiences, you've transcended the experience, you've grown beyond it, so you gained a lot of wisdom from that, and you can actually help people. Some people, they don't like it. It triggers them because they're insecure. That's what it comes down to. They don't like it. They think you're big-headed, you're arrogant, egotistical. So it's like, really, they just want everyone to dim their light so they don't have to look at it. That's really what it comes down to. So, of course, someone starts speaking up. Someone shares their story. Someone shares their healing journey. Someone has an outlook on things. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, I'm sick of this. It's like, don't listen then. Don't listen then. I've shared my journey. I'm not asking to be the messiah of anything, but I read through people very quickly. I transcend situations very quickly. I inspire myself to grow. And I've just recognized a lot of people don't have positive role models in their life. And I'm always uplifting myself. So I figured, you know what? I'll share my story. I'll create a platform. I'll share my through the written word, but I recognize not everybody's articulate. Some people don't like reading, and that's not a judgment on other people. I just recognize it limits an audience. So I did audiobooks to help those people. And then also I thought I'd do the video content too. So it all grew from that. It just grew from me sharing my story in the hope that it helps other people. People want to perceive arrogance through that. The real problem is I have so much confidence in myself. I'm so stable in myself. I actually just don't give a shit. That's the reality. I don't care because I actually love who I am. And no amount of deflection, reflection, deviation, whatever someone wants to do, is going to change my perspective of self. And the problem, as I said, some people see it as a threat, so they want to try and bring that down. They want to bring you down a peg or two. Problem is, you can't. You can't change my perspective of self. Again, I want to instill that in other people, make them incredibly resilient and strong. So I'll share the video a little bit here, the one that got on me a little bit, because I get fed up with these influencers. But what I'm noticing, one of them is one that's, I've seen their whole journey when I didn't even want to see their journey. So I've seen them when they used to do like duets on live chats, and they used to really, really put women down, like females. They used to laugh at them and everything. And that's when they were younger. They were very immature. They've gone through a huge growth period. I've seen it all. I've seen the bits where they do everything for attention. But what I'm seeing lately is they're growing. They're maturing. That's interesting to me. But it doesn't mean I like their content at all. So anyway, I'm not going to say their names. But effectively, one of them is become a little bit wiser through experience. And I find that quite interesting to watch their growth. And, of course, I already see what they're thinking. But yeah. So he's helping this one through a personal issue where they're going through a romantic relationship crisis. And I've always noticed they're very surface level. Everything in life is just a playground, really. They don't like to go deep, and they make sure nothing's serious because they can't handle that. So everything's like this artificial, superficial shit. And the problem is he's going through something now where you can't run away from it. And that's the case for everyone in life. I've said about this in my books. You can be wealthy, you can be poor. Either way, you're still going to go through similar things. And it's really, people need to stop disassociating with others. Like rich people shouldn't keep thinking they're better than the poor people just because they have wealth. They just have a different lifestyle, but they're still going to experience similar things that they experience. You take away the money aspect, the finances, the deprivation. You're still going to have suffer through loss. You're still going to have relationship crisis. You know, still going to have to face yourself every day. You're still going to have to figure out what it actually is that fulfills and inspires us, because money isn't the definition of our happiness. Again, this is where I'm intelligent, but people see that as a threat if they see it the wrong way. To each their own. It's not my problem. It's like literally, you know, I'm always following my alignment, which goes against the grain. Within my life, a lot of the time, it's an immense struggle. You know, hence why I'm exhausted. But I lift myself up and I take those steps every day. Sometimes I take 5 steps forward and I'd have to take 2 steps back, and it'd be like, this is sufferable. And then I get really frustrated that I'm not where I feel I should be. I feel I should have elevated by now. There will be a day when I've truly elevated. There'll be a day when I have the platform that I deserve. There'll be a day when my life completely changes. There'll be people that look on and jealous and envious and think, why is that person there? What have they done? But every achievement you've done will be criticised and it'll be diminished, and it'll be like they don't understand the journey that got you there because they weren't there throughout, and that's fine. People are quick to judge people when they see success. I've seen another comment in another video where someone said, "I hate rich people." I just thought that's really you're just missing the whole point of everything. You know, you're judging someone based on their wealth, which is ridiculous. Not everybody's the same. Just because someone has wealth doesn't make them an arsehole. You know, it doesn't make them selfish. How do you know what they do with it? Some of the best people do things in private. Generosity isn't always public. You know, so it's like broaden your mind and get your head out your ass, because that level of deflection really is hindering your growth. It's literally just looking at ourselves and saying, I can't get out of my situation, and anyone that's doing better than me sucks. And it's like, that's not really what you should be doing. You should be inspiring yourself to grow beyond it. So it's better self-reflection. Yeah, it hurts. It hurts to recognize we're not where we want to be, maybe not who we want to be. I go back 10 years ago, I was a hothead. I was stressed as shit. I can still be stressed, but I process it a lot better now. I always see the bigger picture. I know the end goal. I'm always working towards it. You know, you sort of humble yourself effectively. That's what it is. You humble yourself with the situation and say, there's an awful lot of growing here from where I want to be and who I am today. And you just start working on it. If you look at that, I've done all my books. I've still got more to come. It's not a definition of me, but what amount of growth that's been, because I hadn't done them before. So anyway, it's either humble yourself or continue just to criticize and be jealous and envious and see where that gets you, because it's going to get you in a frustrated life. By the end, you're still freaking fed up with the world and hate everyone around you. What a wonderful life. So anyway, we just show this little bit here. He's got a little bit deep, and I thought I liked it.
Yo, what are you thinking, man?
Life, man. It makes you think too deep.
Yeah, but sometimes you need to think deep.
It makes you think too deep.
That's how you overcome stuff. You got to think into it and like dissect it, you know.
See, and I've noticed that with this guy for a long time. I don't enjoy the content. It just comes up on my view page, and everything I get is the universe showing. I don't want to push my spiritual side right now, but believe me, I've got screenshots I've got about 1,000 screenshots with synchronicities all over it about different societal events. And I know that's what the universe pushes me to. So they're making me watch these people to see their growth, really, which is interesting. Because, yeah, he's very superficial, doesn't want to get hurt, so he doesn't allow himself to get hurt. You know, you can see it with these people. Like I say, I have moments where my head's going to explode. I've documented in a very raw form throughout my entire journey, my suffering. And the achievements along the way. But believe me, it's pushing me to the brink of madness a lot of the time, and it's truly debilitating and exhausting. Before I did this video, for instance, I was like, you know, because like I said, I wasn't definitely going to do this video. I was like, I wouldn't say pity, but just frustrated. And I you know, again, I'm going to push the spiritual side a little bit now. I know my guides and angels, they guide me where I need to be. They're supporting me all the time. And so when I'm speaking sometimes, or I have a fault, it's really to them. It's understanding they're there. Now, it's up to people if they want to believe that or not. It's up to them. You know, I can't. It's not for me to guide people in that sense. Like people should believe what they want to believe. But I was like, this is like my life is like Groundhog Day, man. This is just so pointless. I've outgrown my environment, the situation, the people around me. It's just I've actually set boundaries with most people around me. My circle's just got so small. And I'm just bored. Like, I'm truly bored with the environment, the circumstances. It doesn't fulfill me at all. Like, I am truly fed up. And it's like you wake up and it's the same thing today. It's the same thing tomorrow. No matter how much growth I go through, it's like I just feel like I'm hitting a roadblock. It's like a brick wall all the time. And it's like, this isn't sustainable, because I'm getting really, really fed up. And when you get fed up, you can start getting depressed. Now, I don't feel depressed as such because even yesterday I felt quite vibrant, feel quite positive. I've got a lot of energy, got a lot of ambition, but the circumstances are truly frustrating as shit. Especially financially, I'm not seeing the success that I feel I deserve. And again, I talked about that. Sometimes you've got to take steps back to go forward. So I'm going to have to look at my situation going in towards Christmas and think, what am I going to do? Because something needs to change. And I will instigate the change if I need to. But again, that's going to be a back step to get through something. And it's like, that's frustrating. No one wants to keep going backwards to go forwards. You just want to keep propelling yourself forward. Unfortunately, life is challenging and it doesn't always go how you anticipate it. And like I say, at the end, though, you will have people who judge you for your intelligence, judge you for sharing. There'll always be someone with an opinion. It's just the way it is. They'll have an opinion of you, even if it's not justified. But who am I to say what someone should think and feel? But what is really important is you don't try to reflect your insecurities onto other people. Sometimes something someone says may hurt, but you've got to think, why do you feel that way? And that's what it always comes down to. No one can hurt you in that sense. It's like you're hurting yourself. So if there's a trauma, you're going to have to work through it and heal it. Otherwise, it's always going to trigger you when someone says something that upsets you. Like I say, I just share from experience. That's all I do. What people do with what I say is really is irrelevant to me. I call it passive healing now. That's what it is. I used to be hands-on an awful lot. I used to use a lot of my time up on other people. I used to keep myself stagnant to a point. My life wasn't moving at all. I wasn't achieving anything because I kept sacrificing for other people. And then I recognized that we are the main character in our lives. Whether you love anybody is irrelevant. It really is. It's like you can love people. Even like, if I have a child, I love her immensely. She was like the top of my mountain. Everything was for her. Anyone reading my story will know that. But something clicked in me, and it made me realize that she has herself to an extent, and she will have herself for the rest of her life. She will go on and hopefully have a beautiful life, get married, have experiences. There'll be a day if I continue putting her on such a pedestal that my life is sacrificed for her, where I'm going to be left alone, or I'm going to be a burden to her. So she'll get on and she'll realize, like, for instance, you put yourself in that perspective, they get on trying to enjoy their life, but they're worried about you because you've put so much emphasis on them. As soon as they go on to live their own life, now you have nothing. Well, that's not a healthy place to be. And it's from that perspective that I started to grow. So it's not a case of like putting myself on this huge pedestal, but it's recognizing that I really need to be focusing and prioritizing on my needs. And by extension, it will inspire her and it will allow her to be resilient and strong. And then she'll find the strength and sort of that divinity in herself. And then she'll become that powerhouse too without needing me to do that for her, And these are huge lessons to learn. And so it's recognizing I am indeed the main character of my life. Doesn't mean I don't love those in my close circle. But unless I truly love myself, I cannot give love to them. Powerful lessons to learn. And so many people have insecurities because they don't love themselves to that capacity. Because in some ways, in some instances, they've been taught not to. It's greedy, it's selfish. But then you've got to think, who are those people that said that to you? Just because someone's a family member doesn't mean they're like the Messiah here. Sometimes we're born into families that are there just to teach us a lesson and then move on. But some people get so attached to that situation, they feel they owe them something. So they keep themselves bound to it like they're a prisoner. So they sacrifice their own self to a circumstance and a mindset. But you just shift the mindset, change perspective, you change your life. It's up to you. Like I said, I'm freaking exhausted. I'm trying my best here. But yeah, I'm always trying to help uplift people because I recognize if I just change one person's perspective, potentially you change their life. So these videos I do, hopefully at some point, it just jolts someone, to heal. And then by extension, hopefully that'll help other people heal. People shouldn't feel threatened by other people's intelligence because for me personally, I just think that says an awful lot about someone when it does. And I'm very good at reading people. Again, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just good at reading people. Read people because that's what I'm great at. It's one of my qualities. And I think that's one thing to understand is we all have gifts. We all have talent and skills. And it's tapping into that talent and skill. Not be envious and jealous of someone else's abilities because that's a stupid place to be. And it's likewise, if someone becomes popular, someone becomes wealthy, don't be threatened by that. Use it as inspiration. That's what I do. I don't get jealous of other people's success. I wish them well. Hopefully, they do it for the right reasons. But and then I'm focused on my own growth, and hopefully, I get to where I'm supposed to be, whatever that is. It's not me mirroring someone. I don't intend to be a copy of anybody else. I talk about it a lot. I'm not interested. So, a lot of people who mimic each other to be successful. But then it's like, successful in what though? In someone else's dream? What's the point of that? Just fulfill whatever it is our life purpose, which is different and unique for each of us. And once we attune with ourselves, we'll align with it and we'll figure it out along the way. And then we start gravitating to the things that actually make us happy and proud and fulfilled. And it's not going to be the same for everyone. Not everyone's going to want to be wealthy. You might think you do, but it won't be the life you want. There might be a point where everybody wants to be famous, but do you really want that level of scrutiny on your life? That spotlight? You don't get to pick and choose, So once you're there, you don't get to tell people to leave me alone now. That's not how it works. So you have to think about that. It's like, stop trying to copy everybody else and literally just be yourself. And anyway, so eradicate those insecurities, really, because like I said, if I recognize an insecurity in someone where they're threatened by something, it's like, that already tells me a lot without even going any deeper. It's weak. It's weak. So I prefer to be challenged. I prefer to challenge myself to grow. So if I feel a certain way, why do I feel that way? It doesn't invalidate a feeling, but make some sense as to why I feel it. And then I adjust my life accordingly, and I start working on things. It's not like saying I recognize this and now I'm all of a sudden a better person. I've still got to work through things. You have to let some things go. You have to start processing and start fine tune and chisel away, and then you become that. You literally, effectively, if you think about it this way, we're like a block of ice. I'm only thinking this now. It's actually just concept just come to me. Let's say we're just a block of ice. We're not sculptured yet. And that's how we are throughout our life. Sometimes we get chiseled, and sometimes we get the chiseling doesn't quite mold how we are. So maybe we get deformed and stuff, and then maybe that's why we sort of get lost along the way, because we've never been our true self. It's only when you manage to chisel away the sculpture and actually align all that the extra ice is gone, and it's literally chiseled to perfection. Then you're aligned with yourself. So it's that you keep fine-tuning and sculpting and sculpting and sculpting until you're the actual pure person that you are. And then other things will attract to you, but also you'll set boundaries with people because you become so strong and resilient in yourself. It's not necessarily a case of what can you attract, what can you have. It's also, what don't I want? Powerful place to get to, of course. But what I would say is the ones that are incredibly insecure by others' intelligence or wisdom, I already recognize how much more chiseling is needed for them. They're incredibly far back. They've got a lot of work to do. Doesn't mean they can't do it, but they have to be open with themselves to recognize the work that needs to be done in the first place. Because otherwise you'd end up like this guy, where he didn't want to self-reflect. He didn't want to go to the dark place because you're going to have to go there to heal. So if you keep doing surface level, guess what? He's going to be vulnerable and insecure his whole life. But if he recognizes the deep-rooted issues, addresses it, understands the trauma and the heartache that comes with it, maybe a relationship has to end. And that relationship is the one thing that's kept you together and made you feel strong in this world. Maybe on your own you feel incredibly insecure. Maybe you think no one else is going to love you. So now I'm alone and I'm worthless. But sometimes you're going to have to go to that place to start to find out how worthy you truly are. And then recognize the love that you deserve comes from yourself. And then you start to embody that, and you're actually okay walking this earth alone if you have to, because you will not allow disrespect in your life. But if you're terrified of that changing and allow that disrespect to continue, that weakness is what's going to resemble for the rest of your life. So there's a lot of work to be done. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to do this. I am absolutely exhausted. As soon as I turn the camera off, I'm going to be absolutely shattered because I'm literally running on fumes. So like I say, I know in the future, even now, people are threatened by my intelligence, confidence, pursuit. I have no doubt it's considered arrogance. But then I would say maybe on some level, there is a level of arrogance because I know who I am and I'm confident with who I am. Maybe I do have arrogance. But I don't think half the things people think are negative, I don't think are that negative. Because it's resilience. I always say that. A lot of my negative traits that people perceive as negatives is actually incredibly positive because it allows me a level of resilience and strength to go through adversity. So I don't suffer falls easily, It's that's what it allows. Otherwise, I would be vulnerable all the time. If I was just a positive, carefree person who just wore my heart on my sleeve and left myself vulnerable all the time, people would just run right through you all the time because you'd be gullible. So a little level of a little bit of arrogance, I think, can take you far, really, because it stops people from knocking you down. So yeah, like I say, I really don't care what people think of me in general. So if someone was to say he's a know-it-all, I'd say, yeah, I know a lot.